What is up, internet? I'm the nice one, and today I got a full character modeling tutorial for you. This one's going to be a bit longer, but I promise by the end of it, you'll be able to create your own custom low poly characters in Blender. Stay tuned for next week, where we model out a human knight from D&D, but for now, sit back, relax, and let me make the mistakes for you. Alright, let's do some character box modeling. Some housekeeping rules before we get into it. If you look over here, you'll see OSD hotkey, and you'll be able to see what my keyboard inputs are. This is going to be great because you'll be able to follow along in terms of what shortcuts I'm using throughout the entire process. And honestly, in 3D modeling, shortcuts are your best friend. But let's get started. I'm going to give myself about 20 minutes to make a very simple character model. Low poly, super simple. We're not making anything for Pixar here, but definitely it's going to be great for when you're just getting started. So let's delete everything here with B to select all, X to delete. Now, what we're going to do is I like to go into orthographic view just to make sure that's just my own personal preference, but you can stay in perspective if you want just by hitting 5. Go Shift A to open up your add panel and add a basic cube. Now tab into the cube so that you can edit the vertices and deselect everything and go Control R to open a loop cut option. Depending on where you hold your mouse, you can decide if your loop cut is going to go horizontal or vertical to your cube. So we're going to add one vertically along the Z axis. Hit left click and you can drag it wherever you want, but if you right click, it'll go dead center between the two vertices that it's loop cutting between. Hit Z to open up your wireframe mode, just so that you can see through things and it makes life a bit easier. A to deselect, and what you want to do is select these vertices over here with B. Select these vertices because what we're going to do is we're going to delete this side of the cube in order to mirror it on the other side with a modifier, so that basically you're cutting your modeling time in half. So select these with B, hit X to delete the vertices, and now, with the whole thing selected using A, go to the modifiers and click Add Modifier. You're going to look for something called Mirror, and when you hit the Mirror modifier, notice here now it's making an exact duplicate of the model that was being mirrored over. So for example, if you select this edge over here, hit G to move the vertex, it's going to copy it on the other side. And for any models that are basically symmetrical, this is one of the best tools you can use. Now, one tip. If you select this vertex here where the mirror and the object are supposed to meet, notice how they kind of pull apart or intersect. You don't want that happening because what this is creating is called n-gons. And in 3D modeling, n-gons are a nightmare to resolve. So, right click to undo and hit this button option right here, clipping. When you hit clipping, it basically locks the vertex together so that they can't open or spread apart. Basically, they can only move in conjunction with each other. Okay, so now we're all set up and able to start modeling a character. So basically, all my process really is doing a lot of different loop cuts and a lot of edge slides to round out the shape. So let's just get started. I'm gonna hit B to A to deselect, B to select the back here, G to move, and I'm going to hit Y to move on the Y axis. I'm going to put it here because I'm going to A deselect, B go over here, GY move that in so that everything's kind of centered between X, Y, and the Z axis. Next, I'm basically just shaping the box into more of a rectangle shape, just because I think that's more conducive to a body form. So we're going G, Z, X to bring it in here. Now we got a nice little rectangle. I'm gonna add a loop cut right about here, and let's say, yeah, that looks about good. I'm gonna say that's where his hips are gonna be, or his waist is gonna be. I'm gonna add another loop cut right over here for future sake. Don't worry, you'll see where that's gonna come in handy. And one more right here. Okay, I like that. Now hit Alt, now tab into edge mode using Control Tab and hit Alt, so right click. When you Alt right click, it's going to select all the edges that are intersected by 2 at most vertexes. Now that you have this selected, hit S to scale on the Z axis and scale it down a bit just so that you can give him that nice little waist. I think I'm gonna bring it out a little more on the Y axis. It's gonna be a little more chubbier, but whoa, I'm upside down now. I'm gonna scale it on the X actually. There we go. There we go. I like that. I like that. Okay, cool. Now add another loop cut right around here. All these loop cuts that we're making are actually going to be something we're going to be using in the future, so I like to do them early to plan it all out. Add a bunch of loop cuts right here. Basically, you're trying to make this square here because this is going to be his arm, this is going to be his leg, and the rest is going to shape out his body, and this is going to be his neck. Okay, so let's round out this body form a little bit more. Select here, GY to bring that out. Let's go over here to GY to bring this out. Now select this. Actually no, just shift select all of this and hit Control E to pull up the edge slide option. And when you do edge slide, you can actually move the edges along the vertex, along the face that it's creating a face with between the other vertices. So this is definitely great for when you want to round out a shape. Edge slide this in a little bit. Let's bring these out because we want to give him, he's not just a square, right? We gotta round him out. Select this, go here, go E, edge slide. That's not bad. Let's go here. GY actually to bring that out a little bit. Select this, I don't want that. Control E, edge slide this in. Control E, edge slide this in, and see, notice how what we do on this side is being mirrored on this side. So now you can see how the mirror modifier is super helpful when it comes to modeling an asymmetrical shape, because it effectively just cuts your time in half, your modeling time right down in half. Okay, so now we got a nice little cylinder kind of going on that's going to represent his torso. It's like that, GY. I'm just gonna bring this out a little bit more just to round it off. And then I'm gonna bring this in a tiny bit. GY to bring that. Alright, cool. I'm feeling that so far. I think we need to edge slide this in a tiny bit more. But the more you guys get to know me, the more you'll realize that I'm kind of nitpicky when it comes to these things. I kind of get a little inundated by the details, because I like to make sure everything's niced up. I'm gonna alt select here because I want to bring this edge down, and the reason I want to do that is because I want to round off this side right here. So I'm gonna hit A, Control E, edge select to bring it down a smidge. Let's slide this down as well. Control E, edge, nope. Control Z, Control E, edge slide to bring that down a tiny bit. Let's slide this down as well. Control E, edge slide. Okay, cool. I like that. And then maybe we'll scale it in a tiny bit. Actually, no. You know what? We're gonna scale in the entire top half, actually. So, Alt, right-click to select all the edges that are connected. Shift, Alt, right-click to select more. And boom. Okay. So S to scale generally. And okay, cool. So I think we need to rotate this in a tiny bit. So scale that down a smidge. And just because this, I know in the future this is going to be his neck, I'm actually going to bring this down a little bit as well. And yeah. Okay, cool. So I think this is decent for his torso. Let's move on to his legs. So what we're going to do is tab into face mode. Select the bottom faces over here. Make sure you don't have anything else selected by going into wireframe mode. And then hit Control E. Hit E to extrude and right click. The reason you want to do that is because you're technically still on the extrude function, but when you right click, you cancel whatever operation, whatever extrusion you're about to apply. But now that you have the extrusion selected, you can hit S to scale it in, and now you see that you're creating these faces right over here. And this is great if you want to create indents or kind of partitions within a model. You hit extrude, right click to deselect, and then scale to create the indent. But now we're going to hit extrusion again to pull down a little bit. This is this is going to represent his crotch. Maybe scale that tiny bit. And yeah, okay, cool. So let's rotate that on the y-axis because that's how crotches look. And scale it down a tiny bit more. Okay, great. Let's add one loop cut right here, because what we're gonna do is we're gonna use these faces right here to extrude out the legs. And legs aren't necessarily connected. There's always a gap. We're gonna try and give them a nice little thigh gap right there. So tab back into face mode, select here, and yeah, that looks good. Hit E to extrude down, G, X to bring it in, so that you kind of even it all out, S, Z, 0 to square off the bottom over here, just to reset. And now let's start, let's start trying to round out this leg here, because this over here looks not bad, but this is a little weird in my opinion. So tab into edge mode, hit that, Control E, edge slide this in, edge slide in this like that, Control E, edge slide that in like that, Control E, this, Control E, edge slide that. Okay, cool, making decent progress. Actually I'm gonna be GY to bring this in a smidge, just to give it a nicer round shape. But that means now we gotta bring this in a tiny bit because that doesn't look right. So we'll pull that up there, and actually I think what would look even better is if we bring up this bottom portion of his pants. Go like that. All right, cool, nice. Actually, let's bring this out a tiny bit more. All right, just so that it's kind of square to the rest of the shape. And I'm gonna actually go edge, alt select that, and scale that down a tiny bit, just to make it a little more even. There we go, I'm liking that. As you guys can see, I get really nitpicky with these kind of things, so just bear with me as I'm kind of doing it. Go G, Y to bring this in a tiny bit. GY to bring it a tiny bit more. Let's go back into vertex mode and bring this in. GY like that. Okay, cool. Yeah, that's not bad. Now hit edge, select here, Control E, edge slide, Control E, edge slide, just to round off the shape nicely so that we don't get this weird, a weird looking leg. We don't want that, right? Go here. Okay, cool. That's looking a lot better. GX over there. I'm gonna add a loop cut right here because I think I need to extrude this out a tiny bit more. Yeah, there we go. That's not looking half. That's looking pretty good. All right, let's bring this in a tiny bit on the y-axis. I'm gonna bring this in a tiny bit as well on the y. Let's bring this out a tiny bit as well. Another tip is that you can use your number pad to kind of orient yourself to the different views. So one kind of goes back, left, right, top, bottom. And that's just the numpad 1, 3, 7, 9, and then 5 is how you change between orthographic and perspective. So now hit extrude out again, just to extrude out the rest of his legs. Actually the proportions here are getting a little off. Let's bring this up a bit, and then let's go into edge mode. Select that, edge slide that up to his knee, right about. Edge slide, I like it about there. That's not too bad. Yeah, let's go with that. All right, cool. So go back into face, select this, A to deselect everything, C to kind of brush select the faces that you want, scale that down a tiny bit. Now let's make some nice little feet. Go into edge mode. I'm going to select these faces here and hit E to extrude out and Y to extrude along the y-axis. Now let's go SZ0, no, SX0, nope, SY0. There we go, to square off the edges. E to extrude again, along with Y to extrude along the Y, and then G, Z to bring it down to round it off a tiny bit. Actually, I could probably bring this down a tiny smidge too. G, Z, like that. Yeah, that's good. Yeah, it's really good. G, Z, bring that down. Okay, cool. E, Y, and now we're making the bottom of his foot. Let's go here. E, Z, to extrude that out. Now let's go here and go R, X, or R, Z to kind of rotate that a bit, and then G, Y to bring it in. Let's do the same over here. R, Z to rotate that, and then G, Y to bring it in. Because what we're going to do is we're going to try and connect these edges to these parts of the foot so that we kind of fill in the gaps. So the way I'm going to do it is I'm going to select this edge right here, go here, select this edge, go here, and then hit F, and it'll fill, F for fill, and it'll connect these vertices together, or these edges together, and generate a new face. Go vertex, because I want to bring this in a tiny bit. Go back into edge mode, go here, just like that. Be careful when you're using the fill, because what you don't want to do is create n-gons, which are basically any kind of face that has more than four vertices to it. N-gons are a problem because it's really hard for the computer to solve how the n-gon should look naturally, because it doesn't have an easy way to determine how the plane is going to look when it solves for the vertices. So try and keep it to 3 or 4 at the most. Okay, cool. I'm going to bring this in just a tiny bit. This in just a tiny bit as well. And yeah, that's looking good. Okay, back to edge mode, and let's just fill out the rest of this guy's foot. Okay, I'm gonna go here like that. No, that's not good actually. Let's do this. Yeah, because we want a 3 panel. That. This. That. Okay, great. Vertex, select that. GY. No. GX, that in, tiny bit. Actually it's fine there. Okay, cool. Now let's go back to edge mode. Select here, F to generate, F to generate, F. Oop, actually, I just saw something. Okay, so this is actually going to be helpful. So face, delete these faces right over here. You see how we still have faces at the bottom of his ankle? You don't want that, because when you end up unwrapping the model to texture paint later, these faces are going to get unwrapped, and it's going to be a problem trying to figure out how to paint these, because you're going to start wondering, like, what the hell are these faces doing here? So just make sure you select it, hit X, and delete these faces. Alright, sweet. Now go back to edge. Let's go here. Actually, no. Like that. Let's go here. That's better. Go. Just kind of finish up filling off the rest of this foot. Okay, nice. Let's go G, Z, bring this down a bit. G, X, bring it out. I have to bring it back up. Okay, there we go. Just to round it off a tiny bit. It's not the prettiest looking foot, but just for a beginner, just to get started and figure out a typical process for box modeling, it's not bad at all. GX, GY, GY, GX. Okay, cool. Just to round that off a little bit. Okay, sweet. Now we just have a basic foot setup. Actually, I'm gonna go a little bit farther and just tweak it a little more, because I really don't like how weird this foot is looking. Sorry, guys. Now I'm just getting a little, like, antsy. GX. Whoa. That's not what I wanted. I want to select this face over here, and then GX. Bring it in a little bit. GX. Go actually vertex mode, G, Y here, GY, GY, GY. Amazing. Okay, cool. Great. X. GX. Okay, nice. Alright, I'm about that. Looking a bit better. Just to round it off a little bit. Just so it doesn't look too odd. If that makes any sense. GX to bring this in. GY. Alright, nice. Yeah. Okay, cool. You can also do a loop cut right here if you really wanted. And then go GZ just to round it off more nicely if you're really keen. And I would definitely recommend doing stuff like that just to polish off the loop. Just to polish off the rest of your model. Edge, select here, GZ, and the time. Okay. Alright, cool. So now we just got a simple foot going on over there. Let's go generate his arms now. So remember how we made loop cuts over here? Knowing in the future that we're going to use this edge over here to create his arm. Let's make one more right about there. Yeah, that looks good. Now let's go into face select mode and select these faces over here. Yeah, that looks like about his arm, right? Yeah. No, actually, I'm going to select up to here because we also need to account for his shoulder. Yeah. All right. Great. So hit E to extrude out, S to scale in, G to bring it down, R to rotate. Let's rotate on the X. No, rotate on the Y. Yes, there we go. Scale that down. Add a loop cut right here because we're going to start rounding this off in a second. But let's just make the general shape of his arms. Go back into face select mode. Select all these bad boys. Let's go SZ0. No. SX0. There we go. Just to flatten it all out. And then rotate on the Y. And then extrude out again. S to scale in. G, Z to bring that up. Okay, amazing. Alright, amazing. So let's start rounding off his arm because this looks a little weird. So we're gonna go edge, Alt select that, Control E edge slide. Great. Do the same thing here. Edge slide. Amazing. Be careful right around here. You might need to change some vertices just so that you don't end up with any weird intersections or weird n-gons like we talked about earlier. Control edge, Alt select here. No, actually, because it's selecting what we don't want, we'll just go like this. Oh. Z to make sure you're selecting everything properly. Control E, edge slide that down. Edge slide this a little bit up. You know, and actually what we could probably do is we select this entire loop over here. First off, let's just move this in a tiny bit. And let's scale this down. Just because his arm was looking a little weird, a little buff. Scale that down too. And then let's go face. Select these faces over here. And let's move that, actually let's move that forward. Yeah, there we go. That's how an arm looks. There we go, that looks a little better. Like it's going in for a big hug. Nice. Like an old friend that you hadn't seen in a while. Edge mode, select this. Again, we're just rounding off the rest of them because I don't like seeing that super square arms. That doesn't look nice. Let's nice it up. Let's try our best to make this simple model a little bit more clean. Edge. Okay, cool. Yeah, okay, I'm about that. Nice. Yeah, that's good. Nice. Add a loop cut right here for his shoulder in case you want to kind of add a little bit more dimension over there. So let's select this loop, edge slide it up to about here because that's going to represent his elbow. Now, one thing I forgot to do earlier, you're going to want to add edge loops around the joints. So if this is going to be where we're going to put his joint bone in the future, let's go and add a few more edge cuts around it so that when you do the distortion, it's got less room to bend, and it actually ends up making it look a lot more natural. Usually you want to have at least minimum 2 edge loops between the center edge loop that is going to be the bending point. So we'll do that for the elbow right here, and we'll do the same thing for the arm right here, for the leg right here, sorry. Okay, maybe add one more. And there. Cool, sweet. All right, nice. Now let's go add some hands, some super simple hands. Edge face select these right over here. Make sure you're not selecting anything else weird. And go E extrude, S to scale, G to bring that out, S to scale on the Y again. Yeah, let's do that. G, scale Y. Amazing. Amazing. Nice. Okay, cool. You know, actually I'm gonna add a loop cut right here because I wanna round off this edge over here, because that's not what we're gonna give him, like mitten hands, so we're not gonna do like proper fingers. We're just gonna give him like mitten hands. Edge slide that down a tiny bit. Edge slide this GX. This a tiny bit in GX. Nice. Okay. Vertex, bring this GX to bring it in. Okay. Nice. GY. Okay. Yeah, I think that's not too bad. Go to vertex, go to edge mode, sorry, and select over here. Control E, edge slide that down. And you know, actually you can probably add one more edge loop right here and bring it out. GY to kind of bring it out a tiny bit. Oh, no, not GY. GX. Sorry guys, there's a police officer running around trying to do their job. Okay, so that's making the basic fingers over here. You know, we're gonna probably have to go Z, vertex, B to select. Let's select these vertices, and let's just bring this out a little bit more. Maybe rotate on the Z axis to kind of make it a little bit cleaner. Do that, GX. Okay, great. Okay, amazing. Now let's add his thumb. So loop cut right here, loop cut right here. And then let's add, you know, actually, yeah, that's fine. Yeah, that's gonna be good. We're gonna go edge, we're gonna go face, select these 4 faces over here. And no, before we do that, actually, let's select this, edge slide it up a tiny bit, and then select these 4 faces, because this is gonna represent his thumb. Hit E to extrude, S to scale in. I'm gonna go edge to bring this up a bit, so that it looks a bit nicer. Okay, there. Okay, cool. Back to face mode. Let's select these faces. I don't want this face or that face. Stop selecting faces, please. Okay, great. Extrude out, scale in. Maybe bring this forward a tiny bit on the Z, and then on the, yeah. Nice, yeah, okay, that's not bad. G, yeah, there we go. Okay, cool. Edge, like this, Control E, edge slide down. Control E, edge slide. Control E, edge slide. Control E, edge slide. Nice. Nice. You know, I'm gonna add a loop cut here and here, because I want to. You can either add a loop cut, or you can actually use the scissors tool if you want. Now that I think about it, that might have been that actually would have been an easier step, as opposed to adding more loop cuts into your model. So next time, use the knife tool to create these little edges. Create these new little faces here, so that way you don't have to make a bunch of loop cuts. And so to do that, you just hit K, and then you pulls up your knife tool, and then select an edge, drag out to the next edge, hit enter, and now you just put a cut, go K, do that again here, K, do that right there. All right, I like that. And the reason I want to do that is because I'm just gonna drag it out a tiny bit. G, Y, yes, there we go. G, Z. Okay, nice. And then GX. Tweak it a tiny bit. Okay, great. Alright, not looking too shabby. We'll add a little loop cut right here. And another little loop cut, nope, not there. Right here, because this is going to be another bending point for us. So we're going to have a bone going from here to here, here to here, here to here, and then here to here. If we were to rig this in the future, and the same case is here, you'd have a bone going here to here, so you want to add a loop cut right here. This is all forward thinking planning, because if all you want to do is model, then you don't need to think about this. But if you want to model and then rig your character, then definitely add loop cuts where you expect your character to be bending. So we would have one here going up to here, here to here, to this neck, to his arm, forearm, hands, thumbs, legs, thigh, calf, foot, toe. Those are basically where you would be adding feet. Not feet, but what do you call it? Bones for when you're modeling. Okay, cool. So let's just make his neck, and let's polish this guy off. So hit E to extrude up, S to scale in that. We're gonna bring these edges out a tiny bit because we want it to be more of a rounded shape as opposed to kind of a square neck. I don't know anyone who would have that, so Control E edge slide this bad boy in. Control E edge slide this bad boy in. Nice. Okay, now we got a simple neck going. Cool. Nice. No doubt. Actually, I'm gonna bring this out a tiny bit because I don't like how he's got a bit of a hunchback, and I'm not sure if I'm digging that right now. Alright, sweet. Okay, now we got a bit of a neck going on. Now let's just make a simple circle head shape. Deselect, go into tab, deselect everything so that you're not selecting any objects. Hit A, add a cube mesh. Now you got a cube. Now he looks like a cube boy. That's kind of cute how it fit into him like that. I like it. Hit S to scale it down. GZ to bring it up to the right position on your model. I like going for the bigger head chibi look. So we're just going to scale that up a tiny bit. And now we're going to add another modifier. Add something called a subdivision surface, which is basically going to round off your shape. Apply that modifier and then add another one. But this time don't hit apply. Now you see how the head is how the low poly head is looking. Scale it up a tiny bit more, personally. GZ to bring that up. Now tab back into edit mode, and you see that the subdivision surface modifier that we have is just being projected. It's not applied yet because the original geometry is still following what it was before, and that's what is highlighted right now. So we're gonna do the same thing. We're going to go into vertex mode, deselect, and box select all of these edges right here. Hit delete vertices, hit Z, deselect B, box select these vertexes here so that you're selecting both the front and back side. Hit X to delete the vertices, and now you got a half shape. Hit mirror, select the whole thing, hit mirror. Now we got the mirroring. Now we have it mirroring on the opposite side. And turn on proportional editing, which is right here. If you enable proportional editing, what happens is if you select a vertex and you go G to move it, this bounding box, this bounding circle appears. And the bounding circle indicates how much of the mesh is going to be proportionally edited when you move this particular vertex. One thing I forgot, make sure you turn on clipping. So yeah, go back to G, and now you can move this around, and you see that it's not just the vertex that's being moved, it's everything around it too, according to this bounding box. If you scroll the wheel down, you can limit how much is being modified. If you scroll wheel up, you can change how much is modified too. So let's scroll wheel down to about here, and let's just move things into position. Let's just move things around to kind of shape out our dude to what we think a nice head would look. So I'm thinking, bring this out a little bit, bring this out a little bit, you know. Just kind of shape them to whatever head shape you're kind of going for. G, bring that out. Yeah, okay. Yes, not bad. I don't mind that. You can also go into sculpt mode to kind of give it a little more fidelity, but you know, for this simple, super simple model, I'm gonna go with something like this. Okay, great. Now delete this mirror modifier that we applied because we just want to visualize it. Select the model, select the head, select the body, and if you hit Ctrl J, now what happened is the head became the child of the body and adopted the modifiers that the body was using. That's why when we hit Ctrl J, notice how there's no mirror being applied to it. When we hit Ctrl J, the head took the mirror modifier that was still being applied to the body. And now they're joined. Now they're one single mesh. Okay, great. So that's a nice little tip when you start compiling everything back together. Now, kind of final step, let's just connect the head to the body and be done with it. So go face, select here, hit X to delete the face, and then let's delete this face right here, part of the head right here. Delete this. Now I'm gonna bring this out a little bit. Z, A, B, select that all. GY to bring this in. No, let's rotate this on the Y. Let's rotate this on the X actually, just to make him look like he's doing that. Bring that in, GY. Alright, nice. Okay, that's looking good. Now let's just connect it by using that same F feature that we used at the foot earlier. So go back into Edge, hit these two, go F to connect, hit this. I think this connects nicely. Actually, ooh, this one's kind of tricky. Let's go, actually, this is actually what we'll do. We'll go here and go F. There we go, that's better. Go here, go here. Nope. Go there. And boom, nice, okay. Let's select these vertexes over here and bring this out a tiny bit because the way his neck was working over there, I wasn't really digging that. Let's bring this in, GY, bring this out. Oh, disable proportional editing. That's why other vertices were being modified as you were doing that, so keep that in mind. Actually, now we have a bit of a problem because we now have an n-gon right here. And that's the thing we were talking about earlier, which is kind of a bit of a problem when it comes to solving for the n-gons. So what we're gonna do, go back into face mode, select this face here, delete this, and let's do this. Go F, F, so that it's only triangles, F, oh, nope. F. There we go. That's how we got rid of that n-gon, that pesky n-gon that we definitely don't want to be seeing right now. Cool. And let's actually do the same thing right here. Because, you know, we're just going to try and be a little bit forward thinking. Because you definitely don't want to deal with that in the future. Okay, amazing. Alright, great. Now you got a basic, super simple character model. Is looking not half bad. This is pretty much ready to get rigged if you really want to get going, but yeah, that's pretty much my process in terms of how I would make a super simple character model. You can add a little bit of shoulder pauldrons here. I might make that another video in the future, or add a little bit of armor. You know, you can add a lot more detail by just kind of extruding out and shaping off the rest of it. But yeah, this is pretty much my super simple, super basic process when I'm making a character box model. Alright, so hit apply, and boom, you're good to go. So anyways, hope you liked the video. Jesus, this thing went a lot longer than I expected. Definitely not 20 minutes, but I think saying all the shortcuts definitely kind of killed the time a little bit, but this is definitely something super quick that you can do really simply. So anyways, I hope you liked the video. Let me know if you have any comments or questions about how I approached it. Feel free to drop me a comment or like leave me a question directly on YouTube. And yeah, until the next video, I hope you like it. I'll talk to you later. Have a nice night.